So, this case takes place in Downers Grove, Illinois, and 30-year-old Eliza Morales was just at home relaxing on a Monday night, specifically on January 26th. She was cooking dinner and somebody knocked at her door. Now, Eliza was 5 months pregnant. She was also the mom of a 2-year-old daughter. So, this person who knocked on her door, apparently her husband Gabriel had sold their pickup truck on Facebook Marketplace over the weekend. So now it was Monday night, and this young man had come over to purchase it. Now, the man who showed up was 19-year-old Nidas Revukas. He lived in Westmont, Illinois. So he came over to buy this truck over the weekend, but apparently he needed to come back on Monday so that he could exchange the license plate and so that he could get the bill of sale. So when he showed up on Monday night, everything seemed relatively normal. Surveillance video showed Eliza greeting him around 5:30 p.m. She handed him a screwdriver so that he could go and switch the plates on the truck, and everything just seemed fine. Seemed like a very, transactional moment, everything you would expect. He switches the license plate, brings the screwdriver back to Eliza, but then minutes later, this, what should have been a normal situation, just spiraled into complete chaos and violence. At 5:47 p.m., that same surveillance video showed Eliza in what looked to be a very violent struggle with Nidas. He was trying to push his way into the apartment, and she was trying to keep him out. And so it shows them doing this kind of push-pull motion back and forth, but then ultimately, it shows him breaking into her apartment and then closing the door behind him. Then, about 10 minutes later, smoke is coming from inside the apartment. Now, at this point, by 6:10 p.m., so what is that, roughly 23 minutes later, firefighters were on the scene. And when they arrived, Nidas was nowhere to be found, but they found Eliza unresponsive inside. She also had multiple stab wounds all over her body. She was treated at the scene for her injuries, but unfortunately, not only did she pass away, but her unborn baby passed away as well. Authorities obviously contacted her husband Gabriel immediately, and they told him what had happened to his wife and his unborn daughter, which you can only imagine not only the heartbreak in that moment, but I would imagine a sense of guilt and responsibility. Not that that is right and not that he should feel guilty, but it's like, you were selling your items, you weren't at the house, she came, I would imagine that's something that you wrestle with, even though it's not his fault. So as they're doing their investigation, shortly after notifying Gabriel and, of course, Eliza being pronounced dead, they showed up at Nida's house and they arrested him. Now, when they questioned him, he wasn't really holding back and he wasn't trying to lie and make up a story. He allegedly told the police that he was angry about the condition that the truck was in. So because of that, he, quote, took his frustration out on Eliza. And I have to say, frustration is a complete understatement because according to court documents, Eliza was stabbed approximately 70 times. And most of those stab wounds were to her head and neck, which we see that a lot in these frenzied attacks where it's more of a rage kill, if you will, where they target the face, the head, not because sometimes you see that in more of a personal attack because they want to disfigure them. They don't want to leave them, any sort of beauty behind, things like that, where it's more personal. But in frenzied attacks, you often see this because they want to make sure that the person is dead. And so you target the brain, the face, the injuries where you know that those would be life-threatening and the most critical. And he did that 70 times. Investigators also say that after stabbing Eliza, he allegedly stabbed the family's dog, which, what a sick freak and monster. Who the hell does that? Thankfully, the dog escaped and survived, but what I have not been able to find, or I should say what I have not been able to verify in my research, is I don't know where her 2-year-old daughter was at this time. I don't know if she was perhaps with the father, if she was left unharmed in the house. There's different reports and conflicting reports, which is why I haven't really included exactly what that is because we haven't been able to verify it. However, thank God that the daughter was unharmed as well, wherever she may have been. Now, after the attack, after the 70 stab wounds against Eliza, he allegedly set fire to the family's apartment, all in an attempt to destroy the evidence. Obviously, he then fled. Trying to destroy the evidence clearly didn't work out for him. The fire department showed up and then they were on his tail. There's surveillance video. There's all sorts of things that tie him to the scene. So now he's facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder, intentional homicide of an unborn child, armed robbery, aggravated arson, and also a charge of animal cruelty.